Phoenix, Arizona, the heart of a metropolitan area home to more than 5 million people, with glass towers and year-round sunshine. It looks like the last place on Earth where anything strange could hide. But underneath the desert heat, something doesn't add up. A Victorian mansion where the temperature drops without warning. A mountain range where hikers vanish and never come back. A downtown hotel with a room the staff refuse to enter. A gold mine at the center of a legend so enduring that treasure hunters are still searching for it more than a century later.
For generations, the people of Phoenix have passed down local legends about places where the official explanation doesn't seem to cover everything. Today, we're bringing 10 of those stories together. These are 10 places in Phoenix tied to mysteries that have never been fully settled. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why some of them are easier to visit than to leave. Let's begin. In the heart of downtown Phoenix stands a 7-story hotel that once hosted Marilyn Monroe, Clark Gable, and Mae West. But the hotel's most famous resident never checked out. In 1928, a young woman climbed to the rooftop and never came back down. Ever since, guests and staff have reported a presence on the upper floors, cold spots, a silhouette near the roof access, and elevators that stop on floors nobody selected. Different guests, different decades, describing similar details. No confirmed explanation has satisfied everyone.
Built in 1895, the Rawson House is the oldest Victorian mansion still standing in Phoenix, now a museum in Heritage Square. Visitors describe footsteps upstairs when no one is there, doors that swing shut on their own, and a persistent cold spot near the staircase that some say they can feel even on 100-degree days. Museum staff have logged these reports for years. None of them claim to have seen a full apparition. It's always partial. A sound, a temperature change, a feeling of being watched from the second floor. Just blocks away sits St. Mary's Basilica, one of the oldest Catholic parishes in the state, dating back to the late 1800s. For decades, witnesses near the church at night have reported a floating, human-shaped figure outside the building, often described the same way, near the same entrance. Nobody has been able to connect this sighting to any specific historical event. It simply persists, passed down from strangers who never met and never compared notes. Now we leave downtown and head east into the jagged silhouette that watches over the entire Phoenix Valley, the Superstition Mountains. This is where Phoenix's most famous mystery lives, the Lost Dutchman's gold mine. Legend says a 19th century prospector found a fortune in gold hidden somewhere deep in these peaks and died without revealing the location. Since then, treasure hunters have searched for well over a century. Several disappearances and unexplained deaths have fueled the legend, and investigators still haven't closed the book on some of them. Hikers who return describe things hard to put in a police report. Voices calling their name from empty canyons, lights moving along ridgelines with no trail access. For the indigenous peoples who lived here long before Phoenix existed, the mountains were never a mystery. They were spiritually significant, tied to stories of the underworld and spirits of thunder and storm. An hour outside Phoenix lies one of the richest gold mines in Arizona history, and now a decaying ghost town. The mine's owner enforced brutal justice on anyone caught stealing gold, and multiple hangings are said to have taken place on site. Visitors today report sounds of machinery running in buildings with no power, shadow figures near the old hanging tree, and equipment that photographs as blurred, despite everything else in the shot working perfectly. Back inside city limits, tucked into Paradise Valley, sits a boutique hotel with a founder who apparently never left. Cowboy artist Lon McGargy built the Hermosa Inn in the 1930s. To this day, guests report doors opening on their own, sudden temperature drops, and the unmistakable feeling of being watched while alone. What's interesting is who's reporting it. Not thrill seekers, paying hotel guests with no prior interest in the supernatural, often unaware of the building's history until after they mention what they experienced.
Not every mystery in Phoenix is tied to a private home. Some play out in plain sight, in front of a live audience. The Orpheum Theater opened in downtown Phoenix in 1929, and today it's listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Staff and guests have reported ghostly encounters for decades. A young girl who taps visitors on the shoulder and shushes them mid-performance. And the sound of a cat purring somewhere overhead in an auditorium with no catwalks left to stand on. One of the theater's original owners, who died under circumstances the coroner at the time called unusual, is said to still walk its halls. The building now runs official haunted history tours, and even longtime staff admit nobody has fully accounted for everything guests have reported over the years.
South Mountain Park is one of the largest municipal parks in the world, and hidden throughout its trails are thousands of petroglyphs carved by indigenous peoples over 1,000 years ago. Hikers report disorientation in certain sections of the park, trails that seem to loop back on themselves despite following the marked path, and a strange silence that falls over specific areas. Archaeologists agree the petroglyphs mark the area as spiritually significant. What they can't agree on is why modern visitors, with no knowledge of that history, keep describing the exact same unease in the exact same spots.
Modern downtown Phoenix was built directly on top of the ruins of an ancient Hohokam settlement, a civilization that thrived in this valley for over 1,000 years before declining around 1450 AD. Construction crews working on downtown foundations have, over the decades, uncovered ancient canals, artifacts, and burial sites beneath office buildings and parking structures. Some workers described unexplained equipment malfunctions and a persistent unease on certain sites. Researchers continue to debate exactly why the Hohokam civilization declined, pointing to prolonged drought, environmental change, and migration as the most likely contributing factors.
We end where Arizona's mysteries began, at the Casa Grande ruins, a 4-story structure built by the Hohokam people roughly 700 years ago. Nobody knows for certain what the building was for. The walls contain openings that align precisely with the sun during solstices, suggesting an astronomical knowledge that still impresses modern researchers. Sometime in the 1400s, the people who built it left, and the region was largely depopulated within a generation. There's no war record and no confirmed plague, just an empty structure standing in the desert, and a decline that historians are still working to fully piece together.
10 places, 10 stories, and in every single one, a similar pattern repeats. Independent witnesses, decades apart, describing details they had no way of comparing. There's likely a rational explanation behind many of these accounts, but Phoenix, this bright, modern, sunburnt city, was built on top of a history it never fully left behind.
If you've ever visited one of these locations yourself, tell us your story in the comments below. We read every single one. And if this video kept you watching until the very end, subscribe and join us next time as we go looking for the places nobody wants to talk about.